So let's go to the next game.
Yeah.
Lions Bears. So Micey, here's my question for you about Lions Bears. You think Dan Campbell will have his team ready to go, even though this is a meaningless game?
Yes, he always has them ready.
Yeah, absolutely true.
I don't think so, because it's like the Bears. You can't knock out the Bears from making the playoffs, and they've already made the playoffs. They already won the division. It's just for seeding for the Bears right now. Like the Lions are just so. You saw in a game when they were actually win or go home, and obviously they needed help.
They
But
just
like
looked
the game where they
defeated.
needed to win, they just looked defeated. They had 6 turnovers against freaking Max
Yeah. I mean,
Crosby.
that offensive line is truly beat up, and I mean, it stinks because the Lions are such a fun team to watch.
Yeah, the fact that we're not going to get him in the playoffs is disappointing. I'm not going to lie.
It is. Right.
I will say this though, I think that I mean you're right though. Like I think the Bears come out crush them because at the end of the day, I think the Lions' biggest fear is like Aiden Hutchinson getting really injured or one of their star Amon-Ra's get really hurt or someone getting hurt is like the biggest fear for the Lions. And I think that if they have to deal with injuries, they're gonna if like someone gets really hurt in ACL or Achilles, there's gonna be a lot of pissed off people. So I think they're going to be very almost careful and kind of only play like a 50% of the guys only going to play so much. So I do think that and then the rival between the Bears and the Lions is not like the Bears and the Packers. But that's let's talk that real quick. Also, like it's not it's division, but like it's like Saints Falcons. Like is it that big of a rival? Not really.
Well, you don't have Vince Lombardi and George Halas. You don't have that whole dynamic going on. That's really where that whole thing started.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like, right.
Yeah,
but again, even so, the Bears Packers is so big compared to Bears Lions. Bears Lions both used to stink. For many years, they stunk.
Yeah.
Well, remember, these two teams played way back in week 2, and the Lions put up 52 on the Bears that week. And that was, remember, guys, that at that juncture, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, at that point, the juncture in the season, we were probably all thinking to ourselves, makes sense, right? I mean, the Bears, remember, started 4-2 last year and didn't win a single game the rest of the season. This year, they went into Baltimore 4-2, lost to go to 4-3, and they barely lost a game. They won like the next 8 or 9, whatever it was. So, like, at that juncture in the season, it makes sense.
And a loss last week to the 49ers is not a bad loss. Like, that was a great loss.
No, their only losses since them are the Ravens, Packers, and Niners. Those are their only losses.
Yeah, we'll do a playoff preview, but the Bears defense is a problem.
Yeah,
true.
Very big problem.
They force a lot of turnovers. That's their saving grace this year. I think that's really what it is for the Bears this year.
So did Trayvon Diggs, and look what happened to him.
Trayvon Diggs got signed by the Packers. Yeah.
On the Packers.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll help, by the way. But speaking of Packers, it's relevant. It's relevant, Yehuda, because again, seeding wise, right? If the Bears win this is why I wanted to talk about this game. If the Bears win this game, they get the number 2 seed and they get to play a hobbled Packers team. Since Micah Parsons gone out of the lineup, Rashawn Gary is just not a number 1 record up front, and they'll have to blitz more. They just will, even though they've been stubborn to do so. So I definitely think that the Packers is the team you want to play in that first round simply because of their injuries. Yeah. Otherwise, we talk about them a lot differently. But if the Bears lose, you open it up for the Eagles. The Eagles can get that number 1 seed, the number 2 seed if they beat the Commanders. So it's a relevant game for them, Yehuda.
I know. I hear, but seeding wise, it is important for them to play. It feels like Ravens Steelers last year. Remember, and people were talking about, if you win, then you were going to end up playing the Steelers in the playoffs. And you're like, I don't know, Lamar doesn't always play well against Steelers. I'm like, no, they're clearly a reeling team, and they had injuries, and you want to play them, even though they're our biggest rival, and sometimes it would be the 3rd time playing them. You want to play them because they're clearly the worst team in the playoffs, and then we got it, and then we destroyed them. And that is exactly what it feels like to me for the Bears and the Packers. So historically, Packers have usually done pretty well against Chicago, and obviously they are their fierce rival, and they're 1-1 against them this year. But now it feels like Chicago has turned the tide on them, and the Packers are reeling. But it's the 3rd time playing against them. Do you really think you can beat them another time. Like obviously, it's not trying to beat a team 3 times in 1 year, which they say is very very hard to do. But I agree with you. It is the matchup you want if you're the Bears, and that's what I think. Like if they see that they're losing by a lot against the Lions, then they start to pull their guys and whenever you don't risk injury. But they should be able to handle it because they have a little bit of what to play for, and the Lions are already eliminated going into Chicago, and it's not like it's a rivalry, but it's not like such a big deal. And like Micey said, they don't want people to get hurt. So I think like not that the Bears are going to win comfortably, but like yeah, they probably could win. And but like ultimately, Ben Johnson isn't thinking about like if we're losing, we don't want to risk injury just to play against the Packers instead of the Niners or something. So obviously, it's a much better matchup to play against the Packers, but I think it would be very funny though because he did say I look forward to beating Matt LaFleur twice a year, and he's only beat him once this year, so
He's got a chance.
maybe he does want that 2 seed so he can beat him twice a year. But yeah, I hear the arguments, but ultimately I think the seeding it is important. Right. But like if they make the playoffs, you play whoever's in front of you. You're ready to beat anybody in the playoffs.
I guess
playing the teams thing. After 1 second, the playing the teams thing is more for the fans than the teams. Because I agree with you. I think the teams look at it as we'll look at the tape and see. The teams have different schemes, and we'll just do it based off of that, not who's better, who's worse. So I agree with you. But more as fans, you kind of look at it and you're like, you want the matchup that looks better on paper.
Oh, sure. Yeah. For sure, want Bears Packers also. For narratives.
The only thing really significant about this upcoming Lions game is obviously the Ben Johnson against his old team.
Yeah.
It's like but again, the Lions are out, and that's and good for him. His team is playing for a two seed or whatever.
Yeah, agreed. So who do you got, Meisty? We got the Lions by 3. I mean, Bears by 3. Who are you picking?
I think the Bears. Bears actually cover this by 3.
What do you think?
Bears win and cover. I agree.
Bears win and cover. I'm actually going to go contrarian. I'm going to go with the Lions. Listen, I think that the Lions are. There's no more dangerous team in meaningless games than the Lions. And remember, the Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs and Jared Goff are still going to be on the field. Presumably, we haven't heard that they're going to bench any of them. So
the cold though.
It's the cold. Okay, Jared maybe Goff right. They got a dome over there in Detroit. That's true. Maybe that kills the narrative. But yeah. I'm going to go ahead and pick over under 50.5. So they expect this to be a high scoring game over there in Las Vegas.